Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse is Metta Bhavana, practicing the meditation on universal love. This is a series, the 8th in the series actually, today, and it is based on the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the Buddha's discourse on universal love. We have already discussed in this series many topics connected with this discourse. Now, for instance, the historical background of the discourse is very inspiring. Under what condition the Buddha gave this discourse? In order to remove the difficulties created by, forces, dark forces that came on the way to the monks practicing meditation and so on during the rainy retreat. And then how, by practicing this metta meditation, as well as metta in action, not only as a meditative practice, but metta as a virtuous action, virtue in action. And then metta as practical wisdom by which one can solve the problems of life. So here, in the Metta Sutta, you have these 3 divisions. One, metta as sila. Sila means virtue or virtuous practice. And that is converting every action, whatever we do, whatever we say, and whatever we think. Converting all that, bodily, mental, and verbal and mental actions into metta or universal love. That is one part of the sutta. Second is metta as a meditative practice. You see, as a distinct way of cultivating universal love, which lifts the consciousness to the plane of the divine Rupavachara Brahma gods. And by enabling the mind to reach that height, that sublime height of the Brahma gods, one acquires tremendous power, spiritual, supernormal powers. And these powers, when applied appropriately, bring great happiness, great succor in the world. And then metta, the third part, metta as, wisdom in action. That is practical wisdom in our day-to-day life. These are the 3 distinct ways of practicing universal love. We have already discussed the first part, metta as day-to-day conduct of life. As we transact day-to-day life, actions of life, we do it in such a way that every action becomes a metta action, an action imbued with loving kindness, imbued with goodwill and understanding. Then, once we are able to, do that, all our actions become very wholesome, very noble. And metta as an action means karma. I use the word kamma in Pali purposely because the word, general word karma, or Sanskritized word karma, has got other meanings. It has got meanings like fatalism, predestination, that you are already destined to suffer or to enjoy. Now, for instance, all the conflict that you see in the society here, not only in India, all over the world, there is conflict between the white and the black, and between the Latino and the black, between the Asians and the white. All these conflicts arise because of certain causes. So in order to bring about understanding in the American context, they have created a constitution that enables the people to live in peace and coexist without conflict. So here, in our context, when the word karma is used as predestination, something you are predestined, you are fated to suffer. Say our caste system is built on that, is based on that due to past karma. One has become, one is at the very bottom of the ladder of this caste hierarchy, and that person must suffer constantly because of that. And the person who is in the middle of the ladder or at the top of the ladder is destined to enjoy all good things, irrespective of the fact whether he deserves them, all the good things or not. So this kind of anomaly, this kind of irrational development and unwholesome development has occurred because of the twist in the word karma. And there are so many other meanings. We don't like to use this term. We use the term what Buddha used, kamma, which simply means volitional action. That is a willed action, an intentional, deliberate, conscious action. Now when you practice metta as a deliberate action, this action acquires great power indeed. You develop thought power, will power, and these powers, when exercised in the proper way, they can have devastating effect if it is on the wrong way, and very sublime effect if it is on the right way. So action ultimately determines the destiny not only of a person, of an individual, but also of a whole society. Now imagine there are countries in the world today, an entire nation is suffering from immense misery, all because of belief in violence. Because of the belief that yes, I have power, I can go, and with my military power I will simply finish every ruler in that country or any person, and conquer that country and make sure that my will prevails. Now this kind of perverted belief in violence has led to so much of suffering in the Middle East, in everywhere, throughout the world. Now human beings with all the knowledge in science and technology, all the skill, I am afraid they also have the barbaric content in their minds, where they have this belief in violence, barbarism of the worst kind. So now, metta dissolves this kind of anger, hatred, barbarism, hostility, violence, and all that. So if we consciously and deliberately practice metta in action, not only we avoid all the miseries that occur due to lack of metta, due to hate. The opposite of metta is hatred, hostility, all kinds of, you see, all sorts of perverted ways of thinking. They all arise because of the belief in violence. So prejudices. Now in our country I have been mentioning about the caste prejudices and all that. That is absolutely irrational. You don't have any particular person to hate. An entire community is hated in the name of religion, in the name of language, in the name of this, in the name of that. So now, this can be easily overcome. First of all, by practicing metta in action. If we refuse to be angry, if we refuse to be hostile and harbor ill will and hatred, that ability to refuse ill will, you see, to corrupt our minds, is a very powerful action, mental action. That is metta action. So if you really want to practice metta in action, you have also to know very clearly the causes that brings happiness. Now, for instance, you say, may so-and-so be happy. As already discussed in the last discourse, we have discussed all this in great detail. Today I will only give a summary of it. Now, metta has to be practiced in three different ways, we said last time. One is person to person metta. The other, an impersonal radiation of the thoughts of metta. Then the other, a universal radiation of the thoughts of metta. So last time we mentioned that metta, person to person metta requires that metta starts with oneself. Unless we have metta on ourselves, unless we know how to counter hatred within ourselves and thereby be happy, how can we bring metta in others? How can we bring goodwill and love in others? This does not mean that because you cultivate metta on yourself, that you only cultivate self-love. No. Self-love is selfish. But cultivating metta on oneself simply means that those factors which deprive a person of love, that is hatred, prejudice and all these. Now, to free the mind from all these negative qualities which go against universal love, to free oneself is really creating the condition of happiness of oneself. So one can be happy when the causes of happiness are there. The causes of happiness are that one does not harbor any ill will, one does not believe in violence to be the only way of solving problems. When these conditions are deeply ingrained in the mind, one believes that love is more powerful than hatred, that goodwill is much more powerful than ill will. A kind of open-mindedness is much more powerful than being close-minded and narrow-minded. When one believes that the positive qualities and positive virtues are far more powerful than the negative ones, based upon this belief and this kind of conviction, that one can really produce metta within oneself. When one knows that by hating, by being angry, by finding fault with others and all that, one can get one can get away. No, one can never get away by doing all this. These are all karmas. And karma means that which creates one's destiny. I don't mean karma in the destiny, predestination sense, but kamma as a willful action. That creates one's destiny. You keep on getting angry, keep on being very forceful that you can get things done by force and all that. The result is you will be born in a world where force prevails. in the animal world, in the spirit world, in the demoniac world, subhuman states of existence. So a person who really wants to practice metta must have a lot of wisdom. Understand that ultimately metta is an action. It is karma of the highest kind. First of all, in our day-to-day life, like as deed, word and thought. Secondly, as a meditative thought force and will force, where you cultivate metta, you start with yourself, then you spread this thought of love on all those people. The last discourse we mentioned, first start with those whom we respect, the gurus, the teachers, the parents, and so on. And then one's near and dear ones, our own family members, kith and kin and so on. Then we extend further from the family members to relatives, even distant relatives and so on. And then we extend that further. So your mind is it's in a state of expansion as you radiate further and further. So you spread this metta further on, let us say, your friends and the families of your friends, people, your acquaintances, people you know, your neighbors, those with whom you come in your day-to-day transaction of life, the doctors, the others with whom you deal. So all those people are your colleagues in the office and so on. So you extend to all of them. Then you go further to those whom you don't know, whom you have never seen, the strangers and others. Now even on them you spread this thought of metta. You say, may they all be happy. May they all be free from anger and hatred, which are the causes of unhappiness. So you radiate thoughts of love on all those. Spread on them bit by bit, go wider and wider and create a boundless consciousness in that way. Then from the strangers and unknown people, you go further. You spread your love on those whom you hate or you don't like, or your enemies. If you do not have any enemies specifically, but you may have prejudice against some others, for various reasons, the social brainwashing, the newspaper brainwashing, all kinds of conditions around us create prejudices based on language, based on religion, based on, gender differences, all kinds of, causes which bring about this kind of prejudice. And where you look down upon somebody, or you don't like somebody, or you have hostility. So this state of mind is a very injurious state. So as you spread this way, person to person, where you actually visualize the person, and then spread the thought of metta. So in this metta, the first step of metta is person to person radiation of the thoughts of metta, universal love. Beginning with yourself, then your people to be revered and respected, to be grateful of. There are many people we should be grateful of. So much good things that we have received from so many, we should always be grateful. Without gratitude, we can never be successful in our spiritual pursuit, particularly in the practice of metta. So all those people, then your family people, extend it further to entire society and so on. Having done this, now we come to the second step. Second step is more complicated and it is more subtle, because here you don't have any particular object. In the first step you have object, a person. You can see the person, you have got relationship with the person, you know. So you can spread this thought of love on that person or on a whole group of person there. So now here, in the impersonal radiation of thoughts of metta, here you don't have any particular person. You visualize. Now in metta, it was mentioned last time, that metta involves two things as a meditative practice. Number one, visualization of some object. In this case, a person. Or persons, a number of persons, a whole family. Now, so this is, you visualize this, you imagine them in a very realistic way, and then you project these thoughts of love, universal love on them, and you spread on them, or you see this powerful thought power of, you see, a very, very mighty thought power of metta, universal love. Wish them well, and this wish becomes a will. So what you will happen. That is the psychological significance. So now, having done this in the person-to-person level, and after getting used to this for some time, you have to get acclimated to this kind of thinking, this kind of exercises on universal love. Once you get used to that, and you really enjoy, because of this development of metta within yourself, you are bound to be very, very happy indeed once you practice metta meditation in this way, person to person. Then in the second step, one has to go beyond. So here, the visualization is of a different kind. It's not a particular person, but a whole area and a whole species for that matter. Let us say, may all human beings in this vihara, in this ashram, may all human beings who are here now in this ashram, may they all be happy. So you see, your object is collective. Collectively you are thinking of all those people who are assembled here in the Maha Bodhi. Now you wish all those human beings who have assembled, wish all of them happy. In a very, very sincere and very, very earnest way. And this will be possible provided your person-to-person radiation of thought has been successful. Unless you have successfully practiced the first step, the second step will become very, very intellectual-like. It will not have much effect. Now here, those who have assembled, if you are wishing them happiness, that means you are wishing them free from hatred, free from affliction of any kind, any unhappiness, any causes of unhappiness. And there are so many people who are assembled here. And the causes of unhappiness are many indeed, and very varied indeed. So here you can't particularize, you have to generalize. So in this generalization, you have to have that kind of mental strength which is effective. So in the second step, by the time you start second step, you really must have enough of metta, powerful metta, to be able to spread on everyone present here. All human beings. You say, may they be free from anger and any affliction, any trouble, any fear, any kind of worry. May they all live in peace. May they all be happy. May all conflict in their minds pass away. May they enjoy peace. So here metta acquires the quality of peace. You seek peace because you want conflict to disappear. Now, all conflicts create destructive tendencies. Peace is the very opposite of conflict. So you seek all of them to be mentally peaceful and happy. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta. May all beings be happy who are here assembled. And happiness in the form of being very peaceful, contented, free from worry, free from trouble, free from anything that disturbs the mind. So here, inner peace is what you are thinking as metta. And you spread this on everyone present here. Whether it's a man or a woman, a child or an old person, everyone. Without any prejudice towards anybody, without any dislike or like against anyone. You see everybody equally as object who deserves to be in great peace, who deserves to enjoy peace and happiness, free from worry and trouble of any kind. Now, having done this, now you extend this further, this concept. First of all, you have the concept of human being. Now, you go further. You say, not only human beings who are visible, but those who are invisible, who inhabit the Maha Bodhi. May they all be in peace. May they all enjoy happiness and inner peace. So, that means the birds, animals, insects, all kinds of other beings who inhabit in this area, that is the Mahabodhi, there you wish equally that may they all live in peace. May they be at peace with themselves and with those who are also living here in this area. Then further you go, you say, may all those beings who are invisible, who cannot be seen. There are beings who cannot be seen, not only the microorganisms who cannot be seen unless they are put under a microscope, but there are beings who are higher in their spiritual evolution, like the devas, there are all kinds of cosmological beings, devas, divine ones, and then there are also others representing the subhuman, like the spirit world and so on, whom we can't see, the invisible, unless you have the power to see. So to all these invisible beings also, may they be happy. May they be free from all conflict and violence and trouble and worry. May they enjoy inner peace. Sukhino va khemino hontu sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta. Khemino, kshema, is security born of peace, inner peace. So here, your object, the thought of radiation, the metta now acquires a different quality. It is the quality of peace. You seek all of them to be secure, in safe, yoga kshema, safe and secure, because they are at peace with themselves, at peace with everybody around themselves. So they are peaceful, peaceable people. So that is what you are thinking in terms of metta, in this process of radiation, impersonal process. So you start with a whole bunch of people here, group of people, the human beings, then you extend to the others, non-human beings, and so on. So then having spread this entire area, and the beings who are dwelling in this area, having spread metta on them, seeking that may they all be at peace with themselves, may they enjoy peace and be free from any kind of conflict, any kind of violence. When you very earnestly and powerfully spread this thought, you are filled with the same quality of peace within. And the more peace prevails within, the more peace you can spread on others. The more loving thoughts prevail within, the more loving thoughts spread on others. This is universal truth. So, in this impersonal way of radiation, one starts with one's own home. Let us say you are staying in your house, and in your house you have got so many people, 10, 20, or whatever the number. You collectively assemble them within your mind, assemble them as a mental vision. Visualize them collectively and say, may all of them be happy, free from conflict, free from violence of any kind, and may they be at peace with themselves and at peace with all the others in this household. And not only all these members of the household, may all those other beings who are also here in this household, the insects, the birds, the animals, all kinds of beings are there, all visible beings. May they all be happy, may they all be at peace. May there be no conflict whatsoever between any of these beings within this household. And then you go further, the invisible beings within this household. Now when you have done this with the invisible beings within this household, even they are moved. Because by this time your thought of metta will be pretty powerful. If you have successfully developed this, believe me, this thought will be so powerful that it will affect every being who are there in that household, whether visible or invisible. May they all be happy, may they all be free from conflict, free from violence, free from worry and trouble and affliction of any kind. Once you have done that to your house, now you go next to your next house. Now, the next house, whether you like them or dislike them, they are neighbors. You have to live in peace with them. You can't live in conflict with them all the time. You can't go to the police, you can't go to the court and get into a row with them all the time. No. You have to live in peace. You have to live in a perfect coexistence based on peace. So, you wish them, you visualize all those who are living in the next house, whether you like them or otherwise. But you should not like them anyway. So, when you are doing this person to person, there you have already radiated thought on all of them. So now at this stage, there will be no problem. So you can now visualize all the persons in the next house on the left, on the right side, on the left side, in front and at the back. All the neighbors on four sides. One by one, you radiate these thoughts of love and say, may they be at peace, may they enjoy peace, may they be happy, may there be no conflict whatsoever among them and in this very area. So having now extended to four directions, to four houses, go further, house by house, and that way you cover the entire locality in which you live. Now if you are covering the entire locality where you live, one by one, very, very, patiently, you can't give them mental interview and say, oh, this house, may you be happy. That house, may you be happy. Nothing of that. That will be a joke. It has to be a serious, earnest radiation of metta thought. And this is equally true when you practice metta person by person. You have a whole bunch of people, you are doing metta on them, and you just pull one by one and say, oh, may you be happy, may you be happy, may you be happy. Well, it becomes an intellectual exercise, it doesn't work. Spiritually, it doesn't gain that power, no. So it is equally true here in the impersonal way of radiating metta thoughts. So you have to be very persevering, very patient, and one by one visualize, and as you spread your vision, and it becomes wider and wider to encompass the whole area, you keep your mind on that whole area for some time. Keep on doing it several times, you see, on the whole area, so that you have no problem with any neighbor, anybody who is dwelling in this neighborhood, and you are seeking peace in this region, in this neighborhood. And your powerful thought of love spread over the entire area will work. Indeed, it will work, provided you have done this step by step as we have mentioned. So, now from this neighborhood, go to the next neighborhood, to the next neighborhood, and so on. You radiate the entire city of Bangalore, area by area, neighborhood by neighborhood, and in a very sincere and very patient way. You can't hurry up meditation and quickly do, you say, an instant meditation, no. The Japanese type instant meditation don't work. That's a concept. So you have to have really very persevering and very sincere way of practicing this meditation. Today, I will leave it at this. This is the second step, and there will be several steps within the step. There will be a number of stages in this second step. So that we'll have in the next discourse. May the grace of Bhagavan Buddha surround your lives. May all the devas who protect Dhamma, may all those devas protect all of you and help all of you. May you be able to fill your consciousness with metta, universal love. May you all be happy. Sukhino bhavantu.